Karen Shepherd's eyes burned with seething rage as she watched the two reckless children dart across the busy street, their laughter echoing like a siren's call. How dare they disregard the danger, mocking her pleas to stop. In that moment, a lifetime of resentment and wounded pride boiled over. Without a second thought, she charged forward, her fingers curling into claws, ready to teach those insolent brats a lesson they'd never forget. The shrill screech of tires and Karen's guttural scream shattered the tranquil suburban afternoon. Neighbors rushed from their homes, drawn by the commotion. There, frozen in the middle of the road, stood Karen, trembling, her wild eyes fixed on the crumpled forms of two small children. "My God, what have you done?" Mrs. Higgins gasped, her wrinkled hand flying to her mouth in horror. Karen's lips moved, but no words came. She stared, unblinking, as a growing crowd surrounded the unmoving bodies of her grandchildren, Lily and Noah. Their mother, Karen's own daughter, Emma, fell to her knees, a strangled cry tearing from her throat. "My babies. Someone, call an ambulance." Emma's voice cracked with unbridled anguish. The wail of sirens pierced the air, but time seemed to stand still for Karen. She had come to teach those children a lesson, to show them who was in charge. But now, as she watched the paramedics carefully lift Lily and Noah into the back of the ambulance, a crushing weight settled upon her. This was not the reckoning she had envisioned. Later, at the hospital, the family huddled in the stark waiting room, their faces etched with fear and disbelief. Emma paced the floor, her fingers tangled in her hair. How could this happen? My babies, she whispered, over and over. Karen sat silently, her gaze fixed on the linoleum tiles. She had never imagined that her actions could lead to such devastation. The image of Lily and Noah's lifeless bodies burned in her mind, a searing reminder of the consequences of her rage. After what felt like an eternity, the doctor emerged, his expression grave. "I'm afraid the children sustained serious injuries. Lily is in critical condition, and Noah is stable, but has a long road to recovery." He paused, measuring his words. "We're doing everything we can, but I must prepare you for the possibility that—" Emma let out a strangled sob, burying her face in her hands. Karen felt the bile rise in her throat, her heart pounding in her ears. She had come to punish the children, but now she may have destroyed them forever. The weight of her actions threatened to crush her. As the family wept, Karen remained frozen, unable to offer solace or share in their grief. She was the cause of this unimaginable pain, and the realization was suffocating. What had she done? The days that followed were a blur of anguish and uncertainty. Lily remained in critical condition, fighting for her life, while Noah slowly regained consciousness, his small body covered in bruises and bandages. Emma seldom left their bedside, clutching their hands and whispering prayers, tears streaming down her face. Karen, racked with guilt, hovered in the shadows, too ashamed to face her daughter or the children she had nearly killed. She replayed the horrific scene over and over in her mind, the sound of tires screeching, the thud of small bodies hitting the pavement. How could she have lost control like that? Her grandchildren, her own flesh and blood, had become the unwitting victims of her unrestrained fury. One day, as Emma sat by Lily's bedside, holding her lifeless hand, she turned to Karen, her eyes red-rimmed and hollow. "How could you do this?" she whispered, her voice laced with unbearable pain. "Those were my children, your own flesh and blood. You were supposed to protect them, not—" Her words trailed off as a fresh wave of sobs overtook her. Karen flinched, the weight of her daughter's anguish crushing her. "Emma, I don't know what came over me. I was so angry, and she faltered, the excuses dying on her lips. There was no justification for her actions, no way to undo the devastation she had wrought. Emma fixed her with a piercing glare. "You're not allowed near my children ever again. Do you understand? If I ever see you anywhere near them, I'll—" She paused, her hands trembling. "I'll never forgive you for this, Mother. Never." The finality in Emma's words shattered the last vestiges of Karen's resolve. As her daughter turned away, she crumpled to the floor, her body racked with gut-wrenching sobs. She had lost everything: her grandchildren, her daughter's trust, her very sense of self. The weight of her actions threatened to consume her, and she knew, in that moment, that she may never find redemption. Outside the hospital room, the world continued to turn, oblivious to the family's unimaginable pain. But for Karen, time had stopped, frozen in the devastating consequences of her uncontrolled fury. She had come to teach a lesson, and instead, she had brought her family to the brink of unthinkable tragedy. The days turned into weeks, and Lily's condition remained precarious. Emma never left her bedside, her eyes red-rimmed from endless tears and lack of sleep. Noah, though recovering, was inconsolable, haunted by the memory of the accident and the sight of his sister's lifeless form. Karen, banished from their lives, watched helplessly from afar, her heart breaking with each passing day. She had tried to reach out to Emma, to beg for forgiveness, but her daughter's icy silence was a stark reminder of the chasm she had created. Consumed by shame and regret, Karen retreated into a tortuous solitude, her days filled with endless prayers and agonizing what-ifs. One afternoon, as Karen sat alone in her dimly lit apartment, a small flicker of hope ignited within her. Perhaps, if she could somehow make amends, find a way to show her family the depth of her remorse, there might be a chance at redemption. With a newfound determination, she set out to craft a plan, her fingers trembling as she jotted down ideas. Days later, Karen returned to the hospital, her heart pounding. Approaching the nurse's station, she took a deep breath and spoke in a trembling voice. "I know I'm not welcome, but I have something I'd like to do for my grandchildren. Could you please help me?" The nurses, initially wary, softened as they listened to Karen's earnest plea. After a brief discussion, they agreed to assist her, recognizing the sincerity in her eyes. That evening, as Emma sat at Lily's bedside, holding her lifeless hand, a gentle knock at the door drew her attention. Turning, she gasped at the sight before her. A small, beautifully decorated Christmas tree, its twinkling lights casting a warm glow over the sterile hospital room. "What is this?" Emma whispered, her voice laced with a mixture of confusion and wonder. Stepping forward, Karen's eyes glistened with unshed tears. I know I'm the last person you want to see, Emma. But I had to do something. I know it can never make up for what I've done, but I wanted Lily and Noah to have a little bit of Christmas cheer, even if they can't be home." Emma stared at her mother, the weight of her words sinking in. For a moment, the endless recriminations and fury seemed to melt away, replaced by a fragile glimmer of understanding. "Mother." Emma's voice trembled. "You did this." Karen nodded, her hands clasped tightly together. "I'm so sorry, Emma. I'm sorry for everything. I know I can never take back what I've done, but please, let me try to make it right. Let me be here for you and the children, even if it's just to make them smile." As the first tear slid down Emma's cheek, she reached out and pulled her mother into a crushing embrace. In that moment, the chasm that had divided them began to narrow, a small but significant step towards healing and forgiveness. The twinkling lights of the Christmas tree cast a warm glow over the hospital room, momentarily lifting the heavy veil of sorrow that had blanketed the family. As Emma and Karen held each other, their tears mingling, a sense of fragile hope began to take root. "Oh, Mother," Emma whispered, her voice trembling. "I've missed you so much." Karen's grip tightened, the weight of her guilt and regret threatening to overwhelm her. "I'm so sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry for everything. I never meant for this to happen." Emma pulled back, her eyes searching her mother's face. I know. But seeing Lily and Noah lying there, fighting for their lives, I just couldn't bear it. I was so angry, and She shook her head, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. "Sha," Karen soothed, her own tears flowing freely. "I understand. I caused this, and I'll never forgive myself for it. But please, let me try to make it right. Let me be here for you, for the children. I need to make amends, however I can." Emma hesitated, her gaze flickering to the hospital bed where Lily lay motionless, the machines monitoring her vitals the only sound in the room. Finally, she nodded, her hand reaching out to grasp her mother's. "Okay, Mother. Okay." As the days passed, Karen's presence in the hospital became a steady, comforting presence. She brought homemade meals for Emma, who rarely left Lily's side, and gently coaxed Noah out of his shell, reading him stories and playing quiet games to distract him from the trauma. Slowly, the barriers between them began to crumble. Emma saw the genuine remorse in her mother's eyes, the way she painstakingly tended to the smallest details to ease their suffering. Karen, in turn, marveled at the strength and resilience of her daughter, even in the face of such unimaginable pain. One afternoon, as Karen sat by Noah's bedside, holding his small hand, the boy turned to her, his eyes filled with a fragile hope. "Grandma, do you think Lily will be okay?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Karen felt her heart clench, and she gave his hand a gentle squeeze. "I hope so, darling. The doctors are doing everything they can to help her." Noah nodded, his gaze drifting to the window. "I miss her. I miss playing with her and hearing her laugh. I want her to come home." Karen's eyes filled with tears, and she pulled Noah into a gentle embrace. "I know, sweetheart. I know. But we have to believe that she's going to be all right. We have to have hope." As Noah clung to her, Karen knew that she would do whatever it took to see her family healed and whole once more. The road ahead would be long and uncertain, but she was determined to walk it, to prove that she deserved a second chance, not just for her own sake, but for the sake of the children she had once so recklessly endangered. The weeks passed in a haze of anguish and uncertainty, punctuated by moments of fragile hope. Lily's condition remained precarious, her small body fighting a fierce battle against the devastating injuries sustained in the accident. Emma rarely left her daughter's bedside, clinging to the faint beeps of the machines that kept her alive. Karen, having earned a tentative forgiveness from Emma, became a constant presence in the hospital, offering support and comfort wherever she could. She would sit with Noah, reading him stories and playing quiet games to distract him from the endless anxiety. Slowly, the boy began to open up, his haunted eyes regaining a glimmer of their former spark. One day, as Karen sat by Noah's bedside, the boy turned to her, his voice trembling. "Grandma, do you think Lily's going to die?" he asked, his eyes brimming with tears. Karen's heart clenched, and she gently pulled him into her arms. "Oh, sweetheart, I don't know. But the doctors are doing everything they can to help her. We have to believe that she's going to be okay." Noah buried his face in her shoulder, his small body shaking with sobs. "I'm so scared, Grandma. I can't lose her. I can't." Karen held him tightly, her own tears spilling down her cheeks. "I know, darling. I know. But we have to have hope. Lily is a fighter, just like you. She's going to pull through this. I just know it." As Noah's cries subsided, Karen's gaze drifted to the hospital room where Lily lay, her fragile form nearly swallowed by the tangle of tubes and wires. Emma sat beside her, her hand gently caressing her daughter's cheek, her eyes filled with a quiet desperation. Karen knew that she had to do something, anything, to ease their suffering. She had caused this unimaginable pain, and she was determined to make amends, to prove that she deserved a second chance. Quietly slipping out of the room, Karen made her way to the nurse's station, her heart pounding. "Excuse me, I have a request. Is there anything I can do to help Lily's recovery? Anything at all?" The nurses exchanged a weighted glance, their expressions hesitant. "Well, Mrs. Shepherd, the truth is, the best thing you can do is to continue being here for your family. Your presence and support mean more than you know." Karen's shoulders slumped, a wave of frustration washing over her. "But there must be something I can do. I have to make this right, to show them that I'm truly sorry." One of the nurses reached out, placing a gentle hand on Karen's arm. "I understand your need to help, but the most important thing right now is for Lily to heal. Your family needs you here, by their side, offering your love and compassion. That's the greatest gift you can give them." Karen nodded, her resolve hardening. "Then that's what I'll do. I'll be here, for as long as it takes, to support my family and help them through this." With a renewed sense of purpose, Karen returned to the hospital room, her eyes meeting Emma's. In that moment, a silent understanding passed between them, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. The days turned into weeks, and Lily's condition remained a fragile balancing act. Emma rarely left her daughter's bedside, her eyes perpetually red-rimmed from endless tears and lack of sleep. Noah, too, became a constant presence, his small face etched with worry as he watched over his sister. Karen, true to her word, became a steadfast pillar of support, offering comfort and practical assistance wherever she could. She would bring home-cooked meals for Emma, gently coaxing her to eat and take breaks. With Noah, she found solace in quiet moments of distraction, reading stories and playing gentle games to help him cope with the unimaginable stress. As the family kept vigil, the hospital staff marveled at the transformation they witnessed. Gone was the frantic, rage-filled woman who had caused such devastation. In her place stood a woman determined to make amends, her every action infused with a deep, unrelenting love. One afternoon, as Karen sat by Noah's bedside, the boy turned to her, his eyes shining with a newfound hope. "Grandma, the nurse said Lily might be able to breathe on her own soon. Do you really think she's going to be okay?" Karen's heart swelled with emotion, and she gently squeezed Noah's hand. "Yes, darling, I truly believe she is. Lily is so strong, just like you. She's going to pull through this, I know it." Noah's lips quirked into a tentative smile, and he shuffled closer to his grandmother, taking comfort in her unwavering presence. Across the hall, Emma sat beside Lily's bed, her hand gently caressing her daughter's bruised cheek. The doctor had just delivered the news that Lily's condition was finally stabilizing, and the prospect of her being able to breathe without assistance filled Emma with a fragile yet profound relief. "Oh, Lily," Emma whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You're going to be all right, my sweet girl. Mommy's here, and we're not going anywhere. Just keep fighting, okay?" As the words left her lips, Lily's eyelids fluttered, and a soft, wheezing breath escaped her parched lips. Emma's heart leaped, and she pressed the call button, summoning the nurse with desperate urgency. Within moments, the room was alive with activity as the medical staff converged, their faces filled with a renewed sense of hope. Karen and Noel watched from the doorway, their hands clasped together, as Lily's vitals steadily improved, her breathing strengthening with each passing minute. As the doctor emerged, a small smile playing on his lips, Emma rushed to him, her eyes alight with a mixture of relief and apprehension. "Doctor, it is she." The doctor held up a hand, his expression reassuring. "She's breathing on her own, Emma. It's a significant step in the right direction. We'll still need to monitor her closely, but this is the first glimmer of light we've seen in weeks." Emma let out a strangled sob, her knees nearly buckling beneath her. Karen was at her side in an instant, wrapping her arms around her daughter, the two women clinging to each other as tears of joy and gratitude mingled on their cheeks. In the hospital room, Noel stood transfixed, his face breaking into a wide, toothy grin. "Lily's going to be okay, Grandma. She's going to be okay." As Karen nodded, her own smile radiant through her tears, she knew that this moment, this flickering of hope, was the first step on the long road to healing. The journey ahead would be arduous, but with her family by her side, she was determined to see it through, no matter the cost. As the days turned into weeks, Lily's recovery slowly but steadily progressed. The once lifeless, motionless child now stirred with small movements, her eyes fluttering open for brief moments. Emma's heart soared with each sign of progress, her hope renewed with the fervor that had eluded her for so long. Karen remained a constant, unwavering presence by her daughter's side, her own personal journey of penance and redemption unfolding in the quiet moments of reflection. She had come to this hospital, to this bedside, bearing the heavy weight of her past transgressions, her actions having nearly cost her family everything. Yet, in the face of such unimaginable adversity, Karen had found the strength to face her demons, to humble herself and truly seek forgiveness. She had witnessed the depths of her daughter's anguish, the shattered trust in her grandchildren's eyes, and it had pierced her soul, shattering her illusions of control and infallibility. One evening, as Noah slept fitfully in the small cot beside Lily's bed, Emma turned to her mother, her eyes brimming with a myriad of emotions. "Mother, she paused, her voice thick with emotion. "I know we have a long way to go, but I want you to know that I forgive you. I see now how much you've changed, how much you've done to make amends." Karen's breath caught in her throat, and she reached out, grasping Emma's hand. "Emma, my darling girl, I don't deserve your forgiveness. What I did was unforgivable, and the pain I've caused you and the children." Her words trailed off as a shudder ran through her. "Shh," Emma soothed, squeezing her mother's hand. "I know, Mother. I know. But you've been here, every single day, supporting us, loving us. That means more to me than you could ever know." Karen's eyes glistened with tears, and she nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "I will spend the rest of my life making this up to you, to Lily and Noah. I swear it, on my life." Emma smiled, a fragile but genuine expression that lifted the weight that had been etched onto her features for so long. "I know you will, Mother, and we'll be here, all of us, to support you every step of the way." As the two women embraced, a sense of cautious optimism settled over the room. The path ahead was still uncertain, fraught with challenges and the ever-present specter of the past. But in that moment, the Shepherd family stood united, their bond forged through the crucible of unimaginable pain, and the promise of a future where redemption could take root. In the days that followed, Lily's recovery continued to defy the odds, and the once frail child began to regain her strength, her bright eyes and infectious laughter returning to fill the halls of the hospital. And at the center of it all stood Karen, her once hardened heart softened by the grace of a second chance, her devotion to her family unwavering. The reckoning had come, and with it, the opportunity for true redemption. The Shepherd family was scared, but they were also healing, one fragile step at a time. As the months passed, Lily's miraculous recovery continued to astound the medical staff. What had once seemed like an impossible battle had transformed into a triumphant journey, filled with small victories and moments of unbridled joy. Emma marveled at her daughter's resilience, her heart swelling with pride and overwhelming gratitude. And by her side, unwavering in her support, stood Karen, a woman reborn, her once hardened heart now softened by the grace of a second chance. The road to redemption had not been an easy one for Karen. She had to confront the weight of her past actions, the devastation she had wrought upon her own family. But with Emma's cautious forgiveness and the unwavering love of her grandchildren, she had found the strength to forge a new path, one paved with humility, compassion, and a deep, unshakable devotion. As Lily's release from the hospital drew near, the Shepherd family gathered, their hearts filled with a mix of emotions, relief, joy, and the bittersweet acknowledgement of all they had endured. "Grandma, I can't wait to go home," Lily exclaimed, her bright eyes shining with excitement. "I missed my room and my toys, and—" She paused, her gaze meeting Karen's, a tentative smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "And I missed you, Grandma." Karen felt the familiar sting of tears in her eyes, and she reached out, gently tucking a stray lock of Lily's hair behind her ear. "Oh, my darling, I've missed you too. So very, very much." Emma watched the exchange, her own eyes glistening with unshed tears. Stepping forward, she placed a hand on Karen's shoulder, giving it a gentle squeeze. "Mother, I know it hasn't been easy, but you've proven yourself time and time again. Lily and Noah, they adore you, and so do I. We're a family, and we're going to get through this together." Karen nodded, her heart swelling with emotion. "Thank you, Emma. Thank you for your forgiveness and for giving me a second chance. I promise I will never let you down again." As the family embraced, the weight of the past seemed to lift, replaced by a sense of hope and renewed purpose. The road ahead would not be without its challenges, but they were ready to face them, united in their love and unwavering commitment to healing. In the end, it was not the reckoning that defined the Shepherd family, but the redemption, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the transformative strength of a love that knew no bounds.